Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's BDF44 coming at you with another video, fresh out of bed, fired up a little bit because I saw something online that I think is comparable. You know, it's a decent comparison. It's not laughable, but the consensus had an opinion that I disagree with. So, am I crazy? I bring it to you. Prime, both in their prime, Anthony Davis or Rasheed Wallace. Now, I watched a lot of Rasheed Wallace. He was an opponent of ours, Laker fans. We know him well. We know him. We know him better than we know AD. To be honest with you, as much playoff basketball as we've seen Sheed play, going up against him in Detroit and losing, beating him in Game 7 of the Portland series back in 2000. We have known Sheed for a very, very long time here in LA, and our respect for Sheed is crazy. My respect for Sheed is crazy. One of my favorite players, in fact. He had a jump shot that he put over his head, and at 7 feet tall, he literally could not be guarded. So once he got into his bag, I thought he should have shot it even more than he did. When he got into his bag, his mid-range bag, his three-point shot bag, he was unstoppable. Simply unstoppable. So I don't want people to think that Rasheed Wallace wasn't a great two-way player. He played great defense as well, rebounded the ball real well, but he blocked shots like a madman and made his presence known, man. That was a fantastic player, dude. He was LaMarcus Aldridge before LaMarcus Aldridge in my mind. That's how I look at Rasheed Wallace. Anthony Davis, to me, on the other hand, is a different caliber of player. To be completely honest with you, he's a different caliber of player. He's above Sheed in that way. He's a greater player. He affects more on the basketball floor defensively. He does have more offensive talent. Yes, guard skills, far better handles, far better defensively, far better in a lot of ways. I don't know if he's far better rebounding though. AD could be a better rebounder. I don't know that. Rasheed Wallace is a Hall of Famer. They're both Hall of Famers. AD still writing his story. Rasheed Wallace's career is complete. I got AD above Rasheed Wallace by a lot of players. It's a large gap because AD to me is one of the top maybe 70 players to ever play this game. Rasheed Wallace is probably more in the top 200, right? Just being real, and that's not crazy because if you think about how many players played in this game, it's thousands. So I got Rasheed Wallace very high. He's a Hall of Famer. He should be putting on that orange jacket if he's not already wearing it. I think he's already in there. Should be already in there. But if he ain't already in there, he deserves to be there, and they've dragged their feet too long in putting him there. But I think he's there. AD will be there right away. First ballot, no question about it. They already have the same amount of championships because AD already won one with us in the bubble. And, of course, Rasheed, as I said, got us with the Detroit Pistons. In a situation where he was traded from Portland to Atlanta, played one game in Atlanta. I think he scored like 46 points in that single game, and then was traded the very next day to the Pistons, or within the next couple of days, to the Pistons, and proceeded to win the championship that year. So it was very, very memorable, very awesome. I remember Ball Don't Lie, all that stuff. Rasheed Wallace was dope. Don't get it twisted. It's not like I'm not a Rasheed Wallace fan. I actually am a Rasheed Wallace fan. And I am also an AD fan. He's also playing for my team, so maybe that does affect how I'm looking at it. If Rasheed Wallace, say, played his whole career with the Lakers and AD played his whole career with Portland, maybe I'm coming up here with a different energy, but not a different opinion. Not a different opinion. Because at the end of the day, I can still talk about opponents versus Lakers. You know, I can talk about different opponents that are ranked higher than Lakers all day long. That's not an issue. So this is no exception in that. The fact of the matter is, these are just two different caliber players, and you have two different generations arguing back and forth on a forum in this case, and it's really not about whether or not the players are comparable. It's more so about one generation trying to outdo another generation, saying my generation's better than yours. I hate those arguments because a lot of the people who have those arguments were not real fans back then or right now. Those are casuals. Casuals from the 80s and 70s, casuals from the 2000s. I'm telling you, these people don't know what they're talking about a lot of times when they want to engage in these conversations. People who understand nuanced basketball, chances are they don't even have these type of conversations, really. If you're going to have those type of conversations, you're breaking them down in ways that pick apart so much information that there's a lot to consider. But those who were close to basketball, those who know the game, they understand that those nuances matter, and they understand that you have to pick apart details in order to get to the bottom of certain conversations such as these. So you're not going to just go fly by night and just say, oh, I think this guy's better, that guy's better, unless it's definitive. In this case, it's definitive. It's not close. I love Rasheed Wallace, but it's just a different caliber player, man. It's like Rasheed Wallace was like an all-star today. You know what I mean? He's like when you talk about players who are in the caliber of different position, but like let's say like Devin Booker. He's like Devin Booker. You know what I'm saying? AD's like Joel Embiid. He's like AD. Do you understand what I'm saying? He's like, if you want to go back into those days, he's like Patrick Ewing. You want to compare Patrick Ewing to Rasheed Wallace, if that's what you want to do, even though those guys are kind of outside each other's era, it's a little closer to understanding what it is that I'm talking about. These two different caliber of players. You're talking about one guy who's an MVP candidate and the other guy who's a nice all-star who makes teams every year, who's really, really fantastic and accompanies his squad. One is a number one guy, and the other guy's maybe like a number two guy. I think Rasheed Wallace was a 1A, to be honest with you. He was kind of a one guy. When I look at Portland, they were so deep. You have so many different high caliber players during the era that Rasheed played. So I'm not really honestly sure who the number one was on that team. But just off rip, I would say he was the number one, to be completely honest with you. I would say he was the alpha on that team. But some may say it was Pippen. Some may say it was Stoudemire. But nah, I would give it to Sheed. So let's just say he was the number one on that team. But just looking at the two players, no, I'm sorry, y'all. I'm not going to sit up here and cap with you. As much as I respect and love Rasheed Wallace's game, Anthony Davis is a different caliber player. One's an MVP candidate, another is perennial all-star. It's just different levels, y'all. And I'm not going to even lie to you. Now, could Anthony Davis be more durable, which would help his cause? Could he have looked greater the last time we saw him so that these arguments could be a little more reasonable for casuals? Yeah, that would be great if Anthony Davis wasn't injured last we saw him in a Laker uniform. Now he has this moniker of being this injury-prone player that can't stay healthy. Completely overblown, completely taken out of context. And the context is, most of the time when you saw Anthony Davis, and I said this in a previous video recently, he was playing for the New Orleans Hornets, who weren't playing to win. They were playing for lottery picks. They were playing because, they just needed to get through the season so they can make the changes necessary to build their team up. He was always in that situation for the entire 7-8 years. They were never playing for anything. So anytime he went down with an injury, they would overreact to that injury in theory. This is just me theoretically speaking, because it's how it usually goes when you're not winning. If you're a superstar and you get hurt, they overreact. They want you to come out of the game. Why? Because you're their prized possession, the most valuable thing they have, and most importantly, you're the only person on the team that can play. It's cut and dry. With respects to Jrue Holiday, they didn't have nothing in New Orleans. So that was it. Every time he went down, it's like the sky is falling. So had this been different circumstances, I think he plays. I think he sucks it up. I think the organization allows him to go out there and do so. So a lot of what his injury issues have been are kind of nuanced with the circumstances that you found him in. He's been with the Lakers for 2 years. He had that one injury that kind of knocked him out last season. Then in another injury in the playoffs that knocked him out for a couple games. Other than that, he don't really miss games like that. He doesn't. He'll go down in those games, he'll hobble away, and he'll come back into those games. Since he's been a Laker, that's how it goes. I think because people have seen him fall so much and not come back in New Orleans, that's kind of carried over every time we've seen him fall in the Lakers. But he's played. He plays through injury with us. And him being a brittle player is completely overblown. It's not without merit, but it's exaggerated. So I just want to get up here and say that, man, also. So a lot of people are prisoners in the moment. A lot of people don't remember what happened this morning, that kind of thing, in terms of reaching back into the past and pulling players out of their backside and saying, yo, this guy's better than today's guy. Or you got old school guys who don't want to let go of the old era, so they refuse to allow themselves to believe in the evolution of players. So therefore they'll say that a guy from 1967 is better than a guy who's bench presses 20 times him, man, can jump 20 times higher than him and can shoot 20 times better than him, just because that person was born 20 years ago. So my thing is, look, I'm not going to say I'm offended by that crap, because I get it and it's just human nature to do that, but it is something that needs to be corrected. On this channel, we need to have conversations that don't do that. I'm 37 years of age, and I'm very much aware that some of the players today are better than the ones that were around when I was running around at 9 years old. Not all of them, but some of them. And conditioning is better, nutrition is better, evolution is real, and guys are just faster, smarter, stronger than they were in the past. It's not a testament to guys just not having more talent than somebody else. Just a testament to the natural evolution of humanity. Literally, it's literally that. The guys that are running around today are not going to be as fast as the guys that are running around tomorrow. It just is what it is. So because we understand that, we're not going to sit up here and mischaracterize or misrepresent the levels of where a player stands just because they are from a different generation and that's what we love. We don't do that here. No, we're not doing that here. I don't know that I can pick apart everything as it should be based on my limited understanding of the numbers, my limited understanding of certain nuances as it pertains to the game. I understand I'm just a student of the game and I look at it from afar. So it's not like I'm the guy to determine what's what. I have an opinion just like you do. But what I can say is I got eyes, and one guy's level is not another guy's level just because they have the same height and stature and have the same amount of championships and may have both worn red. No, Rasheed Wallace and AD are not the same player. AD's an MVP candidate. Rasheed Wallace was an awesome champion that could not be guarded when he shot the ball really, really high. That's what I remember. I loved Rasheed Wallace's game. Do not get it twisted. Sheed is the man. I enjoyed watching him do everything but win a championship against the Lakers because that was tough, but he deserved that ring. They won that ring. They beat us as the best defensive team, maybe one of the best defensive teams ever. So he's been a part of some special stuff, and he's a winner. So do not get it twisted. AD has a lot to do if he wants to live up to the winning aspect of Rasheed Wallace's game because they both have one ring. But Rasheed has played a lot more playoff basketball, so I'm not taking nothing from him. But if we're just looking at two players, you're going to stand two players next to each other and say, who's the guy between the two of them? Man, we ain't even talking about that. We're not talking about that. I'm sure Rasheed Wallace would agree Anthony Davis is a tier higher than him or two. It just is what it is, man. Nobody up here going to lie. We're not going to lie, bro. So, that's what I got, man. My name is BDF44. I thank y'all for watching. I'm out.